Ow! Charge! Yes, my Ignis Potens!
I will take their souls!
Ignis Potens!
Spare no one!
As you order. My services are required?
Yes.
What do you want?
Who dares? Who dares? As you order. Ow! 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 At your service! Yes, my lord. Charge!